Excellent. So the topic, the one remaining topic that we haven't discussed much, which would be a good one to end with because it's festive, is how to make your play-in have a fun, festive party environment. So what are the elements that you experienced play-in organizers here in our panel would like to share for how to create that ethos? Susan, do you have anything to say about that?
Well, I think you have to force people to to be social, because if you don't have something scheduled as part of the plan where people are encouraged to talk to each other, play for each other, drink with each other, if you don't have it, then people will not necessarily do it. They'll just play and then they'll just go off and that'll be it. So I think it's very good. It's good to have refreshments. It's good to have wine. I don't drink and play at the same time, but it's really nice after all the playing's done to have some time before everyone disappears to talk about it. I think it's really nice if there is time, if people want to play for each other at the end, that can be a fun thing. So I think, building something into it so that there's actually a moment when people talk to each other, can be very helpful.
Yes, it looks like Peter wants to weigh in. I see he's now in the passenger seat of a car.
Sorry about that. So one thing I think that worked well in one of the plans was to have the location of first of all, have built-in breaks for people to both rest and also mingle, especially, and have the place where everyone congregates to either form their next group or go to their next group or meet up with the people that are in the next group, have that centrally located right at the refreshments. Refreshments, especially coffee, for those that need a little more attention, and wine for those that need to chill, and munchies. Coffee, wine, and lots of munchies, and people will typically socialize a lot and have fun.
And by the way, that's an eligible expense for an ACMP play-in grant as well. So just so you know. I see that first Vivian Waters, my violinist friend from Canada, has a question. Hello, Vivian.
Hi, pleasure to be here. Actually, I'm from Santa Fe right now, so.
Yeah, nice.
So I'm back in the States. One of the things that we always like to do is to get people playing right away. The Eugene Lehner, I don't know if you're familiar with this manner of warming up a quartet, but it can be used for anyone, is to have everyone play like a C major scale together, just to figure out what the room is like. And then one person takes 2 notes, and then the next person joins in, and then finally a scale going up, trying to stay within rhythm and coming down the same way. And then you get a chance to feel what the room is like and feel your sound matching everybody else, and it's a very friendly way to start.
Oh, that's a really lovely idea. Thank you, Vivian. It's wonderful. Ginny, it looks like you have a comment on the party.
Yeah. Well, I think it's to diminish anxiety, because I don't think people can party if they're anxious about performance. So from the very start, I call this a low anxiety play-in. No performance allowed. We in our venue happen to have a playroom, And I announced, my very first sentence is announcing that anyone who is found with any anxiety will be sent down to the playroom to go up and down the slide 10 times to work it out, so that they know that this is about fun. It's not performance. Usually tell a joke about mistakes to make them feel that, you know, it's not about performance, it's about having fun together. So I think that sets you up. And then when you have a food table, you know, people commune around food. So I really think that's essential, even though it's a mess to clean up. You know?
Do any of you have a different perspective on how to manage the food? Like, do you cater it yourself? Do you get participants to bring stuff? You know, like we've talked about musical potlucks where people bring the parts and the scores. How do my panelists handle things like food and drink at a play-in? Anyone have any special nuggets of wisdom for that?
With considerable anxiety on my part, and with a little bit of extra stress, I do ask people to bring things, but I'm such a compulsive planner that everything has to be complete. So I usually bring a core of beverages and a core of ice and a core of snacks to make sure that nothing's missing. But it's worth it. I don't do it at every play-in, but I do it maybe twice a year out of our 4. It's worth it. People do hang together. I don't usually lead off with it, but again, you know, people familiar with each other will hang together, but it still gets some good mixing.
I'm seeing a nice comment here from Brian Lee about using Sign Up Genius for the food. Do you want to say something about that, Brian?
Sure. In Sign Up Genius, it's really easy to have, like, if you know you're going to have 30 people there, to have, like, you know, 3 beverage, have a category of 3 beverage. And once it's filled up, no one else can sign up for that. So then they'll have to go down to, you know, chips or salsa or veggies or whatever. It's a really good way to downplay the 50 dessert syndrome.
Excellent. Actually, I've observed something. Oh, Michael, you have something to say about this. Hello, Michael.
Yeah, I asked everyone to bring some finger food, and we get a good mixed table with finger food, sweets and salty ones. It was quite easy.
Good. Yeah, I think it's true what Ginny said too about the importance of that to create this sort of social, friendly fun, because after all, it really should feel like a party, because I think the main purpose, at least from the ACMP perspective, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Susan, but is that people go to a big play-in and they meet new friends, and they'll, so I think one of the big takeaways that I would take from all the things that people have said about the various topics today is the most important thing is how you mix the people together. You know, whether you do, you know, what Phyllis does with like sign up per room, or the what Bob and Ginny do, which is they specifically create different groups to make sure that different people are playing in different contexts, or do more with the Georgia Chamber Music Retreat, or Bennington does with the, you know, sort of more free form, or what Peter did at his play-in. That's a very important thing. And then the social time is an important time as well, that people can actually talk and get to know each other, exchange contact info. We hope that people after a play-in will actually get back in touch with each other and play chamber music on their own, you know, because they've met someone new, and it's really fun. If you, like Michael, are very careful about including bassoons and oboes and horns and things too, because, you know, it's a great, you know, a lot of us are stuck in a rut, you know, we always play with the same people, and, you know, we may not know about all these other people in our areas, and the food and the drink is a great way to like let people do that. I've noticed every time that I've catered a play-in that I overdo it, because amateur musicians want to play all the time, so which is great. My background is I'm a professional musician, as well as being the executive director of ACMP. And if you're having professionals at your play-in, you need 5 times as much food and wine. because we like to hang out at the food and the wine. I'm sure you all know this. You go to a concert, you want to find the artist. They're at the food table. But the couple times I've done one of these play-ins involving amateurs, I always have way too much because people want to play as much as possible. So that's for the last couple of minutes. I just want to talk about keeping people engaged. Because for me, that's the hardest part. Everyone comes, everyone shows up at the same time, everyone wants to play immediately. How do you make sure, like if you're the organizer, how do you make sure people are always engaged? And I know what Peter did. I think he's already gone. I don't know if he's still there in his car, but he chose himself not to play, and he was standing there in the middle of this school, just making sure everyone was hooked up. Does anyone here have any advice for how to make sure while your event's going on that everyone is always actively engaged and satisfied and happy? Bob, looks like you have a.
Well, I was going to go a different direction with the prior subject, but I'd have to concur with Peter. If you're going to be managing an event of 30 or 35 musicians or 40 musicians, in addition to the advanced planning, just to make sure people have pieces to play, you need to have at least one person who's just running the show. They can't play music and run the show. Believe me, there are pieces I've had under my fingers ready to play that I've wanted to play at a play-in, and it's like, nope, can't go there. I gotta watch the show. I gotta mind the shop. I did want to just add just real quickly. I may not be the best social planner or party organizer, but I think the highest compliment that I've ever received for a play-in was from a young woman in her 20s at our last meetup. She thanked me and said my organization did a great service. The play-in served a great purpose and service, because without them, I wouldn't have made any friends in Washington yet.
Excellent.
So it had become a very effective means for the younger musicians that just coming into town. There are a lot, but DC is a very transient town. So lots of younger musicians come in and they meet each other through these play-ins, and I'm sure it's the case for all areas.